Well, welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks for joining us. Some areas of the Sun Coast could see some freezing temperatures tomorrow morning. First Alert meteorologist John Scalzi joins us now with the latest on this cold snap. It won't last long, but it is going to get pretty cold, huh?
Here we go again.
Yeah,
bringing in the plants, covering the plants, making sure the animals are okay. Yeah, it will get cold fast because the air is so dry over us. In fact, freezing temperatures are really imminent over the course of the next probably 12 hours or so. A freeze warning has replaced the freeze watch that was issued for areas east of the interstate. And really, that's where the threat is going to be greatest, east of the interstate. That is not to say that freezing temperatures might not be seen on the other side of the interstate. Certainly, Mother Nature doesn't know too much about interstates. So it's kind of a loose border that we've drawn here between those areas east of the interstate and west of the interstate. But right along the coastline, I don't think you will see freezing temperatures, but it'll be in the 30s. And everyone will get the wind chill advisory for feels-like temperatures that'll be in the 20s tomorrow morning when you wake up. It is going to be cold indeed. First Alert Weather Day called to help you prepare. Remember, check your heating, make sure that's okay. Cover your plants because tender vegetation will suffer. And don't forget, bring those animals indoors tonight and find a nice warm place for them to cuddle up and ride through this. We'll have the complete detailed forecast in just a few with forecast temperatures.
All right, John, thank you. America's serious influenza outbreak has touched every state in the continental United States. ABC's Maggie Rulli shows us how families are being affected across the country.
10-year-old Nico Malozzi, one of the latest children to fall victim to this year's flu.
Nico was a very lively, vibrant, spirited kid.
Nico and his family were on their way to his hockey tournament in Buffalo, but rushed to the hospital when he started coming down with flu-like symptoms. He was sent home to rest, but they never made it back to Connecticut. Officials believe he died from the flu and sepsis.
Right now, influenza is everywhere.
The CDC confirms that 20 children across the country have died from the flu this winter, 7 just last week.
One of the most difficult things that I've ever had to do was tell my other children on Saturday morning that their little brother wasn't coming home.
In California, health officials say 42 people younger than 65 have died from flu-related complications. That's compared to 9 at this time last year. And this year's strain appears to be a quick killer. Just 48 hours after Katie Oxley Thomas first started showing signs of the flu, this 40-year-old mother of 3 from California was dead.
This was like nothing I've ever seen. How quickly this deteriorated her and attacked her.
Hospitals are overwhelmed. Some are setting up ER tents in parking lots to triage the flood of patients.
This seems to be the worst flu season we've had here in at least 10 to 15 years.
And it is not over yet. Health department officials believe that while this season is peaking, it could go on for several more months. They remind us that it is still not too late to go get that flu shot. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
Back to the cold weather now. Preparations are already underway for tomorrow's cold snap. The Salvation Army in Bradenton started getting ready yesterday for those who will be seeking shelter there. ABC's Marla Spence joins us live from the Salvation Army, where they are creating more space after reaching full capacity during the last cold snap on the Suncoast. Marla?
Yeah, that's right, Scott. You know, the staff here at the Salvation Army are opening additional areas here on the premises to house more people this time around. During the last cold snap earlier this month, the shelter reached full capacity. Now, if the men's lodge and the family shelter becomes full, staff will open up the dining area and the church gymnasium for those looking to get off the street and receive a warm spot. Opening these areas could mean the difference between space for 115 people to almost 300. The assessment for additional space comes after the cold snap earlier this month.
Met after that and said we could use this area if we needed to, and so that's how we have come up with the areas that we can expand the potential beds. The only limitation that we would have at this point is mats, because we won't have that many beds, but we put down mats where they'll stay overnight and be in a warm place at least, and then be able to be fed in the morning.
Now, the Salvation is expecting to open their doors between 6 to 8 tonight for those looking to get off the street and to get a warm spot ahead of those near freezing temperatures. In the meantime, they're asking the community to bring donations down here to the Salvation Army. They say what's needed the most is food and also blankets. I'm Marla Spence reporting live in Manatee County for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Marla, thank you so much. In other news, new cameras coming to the city of Sarasota intersections will no longer flash when drivers run a red light. City commissioners voting last night to upgrade those cameras. The new vendor will replace the surveillance at 20 intersections. The city will pay $70,000 a month for those cameras, but expects to generate more than that with citations they generate. Last year alone, the city mailed out 30,000 tickets for $158 apiece to red light runners. Police spokesperson says removing the camera flash should make it less distracting to drivers.
The flash can be distracting to folks. They can wonder if they got one, if they didn't get one. And so with the flashless technology, they'll just receive the ticket in the mail, and there won't be that, worry right away, and there won't be that distraction as far as did the flash go off? Was I turning on red? Was I stopped?
City commissioners also had the option to use license plate recognition software to help police find drivers involved in other crimes, but the majority of commissioners turned that down, citing an invasion of privacy. The technology is used now on Longboat Key. A local government watchdog claims he has results of a survey that indicates low morale among Sarasota police. Former commission candidate Martin Hyde revealing a recent survey by the International Association of Chiefs of Police. He claims the survey shows more than 70 of the 80 employees who filled out a multiple choice questionnaire that new hires are typically unqualified for the job, and more than half said they do not believe what they are told by management.
I hope it catches fire. I hope they realize that one person at the top, and sparing their feelings isn't the answer in an agency with over 200 employees. It has to be a case of, the tail can't wag the dog, and the reality has to be that the officers have to be heard, and they haven't been.
Hyde says he hopes the city will finally take action after hearing the results of that survey. Counties across Florida spent more than $1 billion in the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. That's according to a draft of a report by the House Select Committee on Hurricane Response and Preparedness. State agencies spent $680 million after the storm. The state expects FEMA to cover most of those costs. Those numbers are separate from the $2.5 billion already spent by federal agencies in Florida. The Florida Power and Light bill will not be going up due to Hurricane Irma. FPL says it's not going to bill customers a surcharge to recover losses from the storm. The power company crediting the federal tax overhaul for the influx of money. FPL had initially planned to start billing customers in March for the restoration costs, but put those plans on hold after the tax overhaul was approved last month. FPL has been collecting extra amounts from customers since last March to cover restoration costs from Hurricane Matthew, which caused extensive damage along parts of the east coast of Florida in 2016. Those extra charges, which top $300 million, will end next month. Students and staff at a school in Puerto Rico celebrating more than 100 days without power. The lights finally came back on yesterday. The entire island lost power back in September when Hurricane Maria destroyed the power grid. The governor of Puerto Rico originally announced a December deadline for 95% of the island's electricity to return. As of this month, though, only 62% of the customers have power, but as you can hear, those kids are pretty happy the power is back on, and who can blame them? So to come in your Suncoast News, want to live till you're 100? We have the secret to a long life from two of Sarasota's wisest residents. And $220 million Cancer Institute taking a big step forward yesterday in Sarasota. We'll tell you about the plans and works at Sarasota Memorial Hospital.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service. It's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Around the neighborhood or around town, you'll feel good and look even better driving your new Fiat. For maximum performance, check out the all-new Fiat Spider. You'll flip over the superior handling and capability. Or follow roads less traveled in the Fiat 500X. So go big or go small. With prices starting as low as $13,999, you're sure to find a Fiat that fits your style during the Start Something New event, going on now at Sunset Fiat of Sarasota.
It's time to take a road trip. Alabama's got 100 road trips, and some will take you back in time to the Civil Rights Movement or even the Civil War. You boys play nice now. From Helen Keller to Hamlet. Check out these big guns. We're talking the USS Alabama. Alabama's got 100 road trips. Plan yours at alabama.travel.
Which one you gonna take?
I'll be right back.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Stephanie Webb.
And I'm Ray Collins. It might not be snowing, but we're feeling the winter chill here on the Suncoast.
So we're going to tell you what shelters are open and what you can do to stay safe in these cold conditions tomorrow on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
We'll look at just how cold those temperatures got and for what duration, plus when the warm-up will occur and when we'll be back in the 70s.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you. Get breaking news alerts focused on the Suncoast. Download the ABC7 News app. Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
Beautiful sunny day outside right now. Temperatures are in the mid-60s, even some upper 60s, 67 Wauchula, Myakka City, Arcadia 67, Northport at 67, 66 in Sarasota, 65 in Venice, Inglewood at 63, 61 Longboat, Bradenton at 66, 65 in Parrish. Full sunshine most everywhere. You're saying to yourself, how could it possibly get down to freezing tonight? Well, don't worry, you'll know it. The signal will come in about 3 hours or so. As the frontal boundary gets to our doorstep by about 3, 4 o'clock, you'll start to notice the winds begin to shift just a little bit. And as those winds begin to shift, temperatures which were in the mid-60s will start dropping down into the lower 60s. And as we head into the 7 o'clock hour, you'll definitely notice something's going on. Winds will start picking up. They'll be up at around 15 to 20 miles per hour. You'll notice that the temperatures are steadily dropping and dropping pretty quickly as we head into the evening hours. And some places will see temperatures that'll actually be in the 30s by the time we get to midnight tonight, especially those places along the interstate and east. We have a front located just to the north of us right now, producing quiet conditions across a lot of the country because high pressure is building in behind it. That's an Arctic area of high pressure that is really cold, life-threateningly cold across a lot of the country, as far south as really even into Texas and Louisiana. That colder air is producing snow showers along the eastern seaboard. And if you're traveling to the Charlotte airport today or to areas around New York, especially upstate, you're going to have a slow go. It's going to be a bad commute, bad travel time. The frontal boundary itself kind of stalls out and falls apart as it heads down into South Florida. And the air is so dry that we're really not going to get much in the way of precip out of it. But as high pressure builds in back behind that front, the winds will start to howl out of the north. That's the reason for the first alert weather day. Cold temperatures and strong winds. The freeze watch has been replaced with a freeze warning east of the interstate, and a wind chill advisory is up for everyone because it's just going to feel really raw tomorrow morning. Take it hour by hour, a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of precip to the north of us now, kind of fades away as it gets close to our doorstep during the afternoon and passes across our region during the evening hours. By 6 o'clock, you'll really notice those winds picking up. And then as we head into 10 p.m., the temperatures will be falling steadily. By tomorrow morning, that's when we'll really notice it as we get out of bed and head out of doors. It will hit you like a brick wall as you head out the door, no doubt about it. The feels-like temperature, as I mentioned, in the 20s, requiring hats, coats, maybe even some gloves and scarves out there for some folks, I think. And then we'll start to moderate temperatures a little bit as the sun comes up and we start heating the day, but there'll be cold air in place right through Friday. So tomorrow night will be another cool night, though a freeze is not expected. It will still be chilly indeed. For beach and boating, forget about it. It's going to be really rough out there on Bay and Inland Water. Small craft advisory up through tomorrow will probably be extended. That northeast wind will give you up to 6-foot seas out there. And the forecast looks like this. We're going to reach our high pretty soon now. Freeze warnings are in effect. We'll bottom it out close to freezing in downtown Sarasota, but we will hit the freezing mark for 5 to 8 hours east of the interstate, and probably in the upper 20s in Hardee and DeSoto County. And then tomorrow we only reach a high temperature of about 55. Tomorrow night another cold night, but not as cold, and then we'll start to warm on Friday, and we'll get into temperatures that are back into the 70s for a prolonged period of time as we head into next week. Back to you.
Okay, John, thank you. Today in Health Smart, just what is the secret to a long life? Well, ABC 7's Stephanie Webb is here, and she might have the answer. Stephanie?
Well, according to one of my favorite Golden Girls, the answer could be humor. Betty White turns 96 years young today. In a recent interview with Parade magazine, White says the secret to her longevity is to find the humor in life when things get tough. Also, vodka and hot dogs, she says, in that order. We wondered about some other secrets to a long life, so we headed over to the Pines of Sarasota to ask some other young ladies who are both 100 years old for their words of wisdom.
Putting God first and serving others. What can I do to help somebody?
Being active and being independent. I like to paint, and I wish I could ride a motorcycle again.
Being thankful. The attitude of gratitude.
And there you have it. Gratitude, independence, and staying active. Some good advice right there, and to have some goals. Now back to Betty White for just a moment. She says that her biggest life goal is to finally meet her lifelong crush, Robert Redford. I think that's a good goal to have as well.
Can't believe it hasn't happened yet.
Right?
All
Come on, Robert Redford. Let's do this.
Stephanie, thank you. The Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System is moving ahead with plans to develop a comprehensive cancer program. New facilities will offer cancer prevention, screening, diagnosis, and treatment. This week, the Sarasota County Public Hospital Board approved $220 million to begin the program. The master plan includes building a new cancer inpatient and surgical tower on the hospital's main campus and an outpatient radiation treatment center on its campus at University Parkway. SMH plans to host several community workshops and neighborhood meetings to discuss the plans with the community. Time now to head over to the kitchen and check in for the first time today with ABC 7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher, who is fixing up something delicious for us today. Judy?
Well, hi there, Scott. Okay, comfort food, it's on its way. Forget about the diets for a little while because we want warm and hearty things. So today I'm making a version of a stuffed pizza back from the old days that I used to make for my son when he was a little one. But it works great for adults and it's perfect when you're entertaining for the big game. Picked up some great crusty Italian bread from the fresh market. I've just scooped out the inside a little bit, and I'm going to cover that with olive oil and oregano, and then we're going to mix in pancetta and creamy gorgonzola and figs and a few more surprises. It's going to be delicious and hearty for this cold night coming up.
Motor Trend said the new Alfa Romeo Giulia is hands down the best sports sedan you can buy today, and named it the 2018 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Need more space in your place? The More Space Place can help with Murphy beds that disappear to reveal a home office, living room, or den. Custom closets with designated areas for your shoes, bags, wardrobe, and accessories. Custom-built entertainment centers, garage storage systems, and more. The More Space Place has 3 showrooms next to Sonny's on US 41 South in Sarasota, on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard just south of State Route 64 in Bradenton, and on Tamiami Trail next to Panera Bread in Port Charlotte. Put more space in your place at the More Space Place.
Hi, I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. No one should face breast cancer alone. When I was diagnosed 36 years ago, there was no internet, and I had to make a decision with little information. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. To learn what every woman needs to know about breast cancer, visit nbcf.org/hope.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com for Chef Judy's favorite recipes, restaurant guide, and more. Go to mysuncoast.com/dining.
When evaluating the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, Car and Driver magazine said every crossover should be this good to drive. We agree. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Who inspired you at some point in your life? Well, today's amazing Suncoast woman has inspired many youngsters, and she'll be right there working alongside them at the Manatee County Fair this week. ABC7's Linda Carson has the story.
County Fair, Linda Carson, ABC7. Would you not eat my pants? Ah! Judy Anderson was in charge of the 4-H Club goat exhibit that I stepped into and went flying several years ago. She had just turned it back for a minute when I stepped into the pen with Son the goat.
I would have said, no, 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 because as soon as you stopped petting Son and you went to petting the other goat, she pushed you over because she wanted attention.
No worries, I was fine. Judy knows a lot about goats. She has 65 on her 7-acre farm. 4-H Club members in the goat program meet there.
Majority of the animals that the kids are showing will belong to me.
They come to her farm and learn all aspects of caring for a goat, and they also learn life skills.
They learn to make a mistake, figure a way out of it, make the best out of it, and therefore they begin to be able to control and take control of their lives. They are in charge of an animal.
Judy started in the 4-H when her youngest son joined and wanted to show an animal at the fair.
And I had to find him an animal that wouldn't be eaten because that would have broke his heart. So we settled on goats.
A great choice.
He did wonderful until he fell in love with a girl who showed pigs.
The romance blossomed, and years later they got married. Her older son also joined 4-H and still helps Judy to this day, as does her husband Jim. But she doesn't let Jim work with the goats. She says he's too gentle with them.
He's not firm enough. They walk all over him.
Judy and Jim have been married 47 years.
Our faith kept us together through good times and bad times.
Judy has also had a long teaching career in Manatee County. She says working with children and animals keeps her happy. And her life lesson?
Put the Lord first, and then allow people to be themselves and adjust yourself to them. Not to push anybody in a corner, give them a way out.
And if you happen to see a car going down the street with a goat in the back, that's Miss Judy, this amazing Suncoast woman, driving her goat to its appointment. Linda Carson, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
And now you know. All right, let's get back to the kitchen now and check in with ABC7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher, fixing some comfort food for us today. I love that.
Oh, I know, and we'll be getting ready for some playoff games, so this is going to work beautifully. Now, basically, I took a nice fresh loaf of crusty Italian bread, scooped out a little bit of the inside, added some olive oil and oregano, and it went into the oven without the pan, just so we can get the bottom crusted a little bit as well. So here we go, fresh hot out of the oven, and boom, it'll go in a tray. Now, of course, you can make with this, just stuff this with just about anything. But you know me, I always have to find a little kind of more uptown look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some fresh sliced mozzarella, and that's going to go on the bottom. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few plum tomatoes, fresh plum tomatoes, and I'm going to layer that as well. We'll kind of put that in between. Now that in itself kind of looks like we're headed towards a nice margarita style, but wait till you see what we're going to do next, and this is the fun part. We're going to heat up in a pan some pancetta, diced pancetta, or even diced prosciutto. And you can get those in containers in most high-end markets like a Fresh Market. So you're going to saute those and get them nice and crispy, just like that, okay? And then we're going to just kind of drizzle that over and get that salty meat in there with the sweetness of fresh mozzarella. Don't use burrata because that's a little bit too creamy. So we're going to go ahead and do this part, and then this is going to go back in the oven, okay? So we'll put this back in the oven for, probably for about 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to start to let the cheese melt. Now let's talk about the next ingredients and other options. You can buy a pizza crust already made, or you can make your own pizza crust. I have one of those tabletop propane tank pizza ovens that I'll be using this weekend for my girlfriends as I make one of these. So we'll get that set. When we come back, we'll be able to toss in the gorgonzola, some figs, and make a little arugula salad that's going to brighten it up. So think of it as a stuffed pizza and salad in a bowl. What could be better on a cold night?
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. Our promise means a new car you'll love. If not, return it for one you do. At Sarasota Ford, we promise live market pricing. We monitor national pricing on our entire inventory, so you get the best deal. In fact, we guarantee it. Bring us any competitor's ad, and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
My name is Haley. I have Fragile X syndrome. I work with Chartwells at Einstein's and FAU. I like being up front and interacting with students. The students are very nice and very hungry. Having a job is a big ticket for independence.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to abilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish!
It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at noon. your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. We have a cold night ahead here on the Suncoast. First Alert meteorologist John Scalzi joins us now with more on what we can expect.
Yeah, we can expect some big changes coming up very quickly is what we can expect. We have a freeze warning now. We should be replacing the freeze watch that was up for temperatures that are expected to be between 28 and 32 degrees. And the thing is, for a long period of time, 5 to 8 hours, that's east of the interstate, and that could damage crops, certainly. It's not a hard freeze, but we will in parts of Florida have a hard freeze. Small craft advisory also up, as is a wind chill advisory. Everyone will be cold tomorrow as those winds whip through the area. Right now, they're west-northwest, coming in at about 6. We'll watch them turn more northwest and pick up in intensity as that front sinks south. Clouds just behind the front, sinking down the state. The front itself, I analyzed it to be just about near Crystal River, I'd say. Yankeetown, Crystal River, somewhere right in there, the leading edge of that front. So it is coming down the Big Bend. We had some freezing precipitation in parts of North Florida this morning. That's since gone as that front has now encountered dry air. But look at the current temperatures. You can tell where the front has gone through already. We have 33 degrees in Pensacola, Tallahassee, up around in there. And then as you head into our area, we're still in the 60s. So colder air will be arriving in the course of about the next 12 hours or so. Scott?
John, thank you. Manatee County looking for input on a set of changes to its comprehensive plan and land development code. The proposed changes will have a significant impact on how the county reviews and processes future land development applications. According to the county's planning manager, the suggested changes will bring more consistency among regulations in the county's major planning documents. If you want your voice to be heard, the meeting happens this afternoon at the Downtown Central Library Auditorium beginning at 5:30. And the city of Bradenton is hosting a workshop to talk about a 300-unit apartment complex planned for Manatee Avenue West. It calls for the old Bradenton Herald site to become new market-rate apartments. The development would be situated in the city's medical district, which the city plans to continue developing over the next decade. City of Sarasota getting closer to allowing medical marijuana dispensaries to open. City commissioners discussing regulations that would allow them within city limits. Commissioners unanimously approved forming 4 zones. Medical marijuana dispensaries would be allowed in the downtown core, commercial general area, commercial shopping center, regional, and intensive commercial district.
I voted for medical marijuana, and I think that we need to make sure that people have access to it. My biggest concern, however, is that the legislature took away much of our power to regulate where these dispensaries go.
It needs to be looked at as what it is, that it is a prescription medication. People have to have a prescription from their doctor for it. They pick it up from a pharmacy just like you would any other medication.
State law says dispensaries can be permitted in all zoning districts that allow for the operation of pharmacies. Sarasota's ordinance also makes a distinction between freestanding pharmacies and drugstores such as CVS. In Washington, former White House Chief Strategist Steve Bannon is facing subpoenas now from Congress and Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Bannon refusing to answer questions about the Trump campaign and the transition yesterday. This new development comes as a top GOP lawmaker criticized President Trump on the Senate floor. ABC's Kenneth Moten has more from Washington.
Steve Bannon slapped with subpoenas in the Russia investigation. The House Intelligence Committee frustrated at Bannon's refusal to answer questions during a nearly 10-hour closed-door session on Capitol Hill.
Bannon's counsel's position that Mr. Bannon was willing to answer our questions, but he was under instructions by the White House not to.
Bannon's attorney said executive privilege belongs to the President of the United States. It's not Mr. Bannon's right to waive it. President Trump recently said Bannon lost his mind when he lost his job. Now the White House is defending his silence.
No one's encouraged him to be anything but transparent, but there is a process of what that looks like.
But a source tells ABC News Bannon is expected to cooperate with the subpoena to appear before Special Counsel Robert Mueller's grand jury. Bannon raised questions in the book Fire and Fury about a Trump Tower meeting between Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, Paul Manafort, and a Russian lawyer. President Trump has dismissed the Russia investigation as fake news.
To be very clear, to call the Russian matter a hoax, as the president has done so many times, is a falsehood.
Today, Trump critic GOP Senator Jeff Flake unleashed on the president, comparing him to communist leader Joseph Stalin.
An American president who cannot take criticism who must constantly deflect and distort and distract, who must find someone else to blame, is charting a very dangerous path.
As for Bannon, sources say he could be in front of the special counsel's grand jury within days, and he is expected to testify with no restrictions from the White House. Kenneth Moten, ABC News, Washington.
A former CIA officer finds himself on the other side of the law. Jerry Chung-Shing Lee, arrested on Monday at New York's JFK Airport. The Justice Department alleges Lee, a 13-year veteran of the CIA, had small notebooks that contained classified information, like the real names of covert agency workers. Government officials say the information Lee had could cause exceptionally grave danger to the national security of the country. He's charged with unlawful retention of national defense information and faces now up to 10 years in prison. Former Vice President Dick Cheney will be in Sarasota Friday to receive an award. The Republican Party of Sarasota County honoring Cheney as its Statesman of the Year. Cheney's daughter, Liz, will also be here. The Wyoming Congresswoman will be honored as Stateswoman of the Year. A Florida lawmaker has concerns about an upcoming murder trial. Altamont Springs State Representative Bob Cortez asking Governor Scott to ensure State Attorney Ramos Ayala not be allowed to handle the case because of her resistance to impose the death penalty. The case involves 3 people accused in an alleged murder-for-hire plot that police say led to the killing of a woman last week. The governor rejected the request.
We want to send a swift message. Florida does not play around. In Florida, if you do the crime, we will prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law.
Governor's office referred to the existing death penalty review panel, which was created after the state Supreme Court changed its policy on the state's death penalty. 9 arrest warrants are issued in last year's hazing death of a Florida State University pledge. 20-year-old Andrew Coffey died of alcohol poisoning at an off-campus party. His blood alcohol level was more than 5 times the legal driving limit. The 9 people are now facing a felony charge. They're all between the ages of 20 and 22. A Jacksonville Jaguars running back is involved in a crash. Troopers say Leonard Fournette was inside a vehicle involved in the 3-car collision on the interstate. A spokesman for the Jaguars said Fournette was able to drive home and he was not hurt in the crash. Troopers say Fournette was not at fault, and one of the drivers of the other vehicles involved was cited for careless driving. An innovative mode of transportation making its debut in the Sunshine State, right out of Charlotte County. The Babcock Ranch community premiering its new shuttle. It runs like a car, only it's not supposed to have a driver. It has 8 sensors. It uses GPS to get around, and there are only 65 like them in the world.
We're starting with one shuttle, and then we're going to introduce more and get people used to it, get people comfortable with it. And the more people get comfortable with it, I think the better it'll be.
Babcock Ranch, a new community in southeast Charlotte County. It's powered entirely by renewable energy, and it's only testing one out with an operator until it's fully ready, and then they plan to add more like it in the coming years. A group in California is trying to form a new California of their own. Founders are using a specific article from the U.S. Constitution to help them become independent from the rest of the state. The group already has its own Declaration of Independence, and now they say it will take 10 to 18 months before they are ready to start their own legislature. California officials have yet to comment on the situation. Meanwhile, Floridians are happy to stay put. Florida named the best place to retire by WalletHub. A study looked at all 50 states and compared cost of living, quality of hospitals, life expectancy, and about 40 other categories. For a list of the top 10 states, you can look for this story on our website. Just go to mysuncoast.com. Back to the kitchen now. Check in on lunch with ABC 7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher. Judy?
Okay, so now we're going to take out this creamy gorgonzola. Now, gorgonzola is the blue cheese of Italian cheeses. You really want to get a really nice creamy one, because what we're going to do is we're going to start to spread it around the edges. Now, obviously, if you have people that may not like the gorgonzola, you can just omit this, but just being around the edges just really helps to make that decadence and give it that tang that I really like. So we'll go ahead, and one little wedge is going to be fine. This probably cost me about $7, and it's going to be more than enough. So we'll just go around the edges like that, so it can cover up where it got crusty. So this is going to also preserve that nice crust so it won't burn, but it's going to go back in the oven But first, we're going to take some figs. Now, fresh figs we can't get readily right now. That's okay. You can use dried figs as long as they're still really plump. That's going to be great, but sometime try it with fresh figs. Unbelievable. So we're going to poke this back in the oven for just a minute. Let's get that part going. And then what I'm going to do is going to toss up the arugula, which is going to go on top. In the oven, I already have the bottom crust pizza. I have a little sauce on that, make it a little different without the gorgonzola, because like I said, not everybody likes it, but I think they will like the figs. So let's make a little space here. Fresh pepper, salt, a little lemon, and I like lemon rind. I think it goes really well with it. You can even use really, really thin slices of Granny Smith apples at this point to go on top of the pizza as well. Now, you can also do things like take a bolognese sauce and pour it right into the scooped out bread, and then just top it with the fresh mozzarella, and that in itself is a meal. So you can do that, and it really makes for this, like, I call it a pizza bowl, but it's, you know, really like a bread bowl. So many different options that you can do, but this makes it really fun. So we have, all this is ready. The arugula is now ready with an aged balsamic. And then we have a little extra figs, so I'll throw that right in there on top. And I had one slice of fresh mozzarella left, so let's just toss that in the salad as well. When we come back, we'll take it out of the oven, and it'll be ready for a crusty bite.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. AndServices.com. AndServices.com.
You can do something about a crime, any crime, and you can receive a reward of up to $3,000 cash. Call Crime Stoppers with information about criminal activity, unsolved crimes, drug dealers, fugitive criminals, stolen property, illegal weapons. Call 366-TIPS. You will remain anonymous. Visit SarasotaCrimeStoppers.com. Download the Crime Stoppers P3 mobile app from the Apple iTunes Store or Google Play. Call Crime Stoppers 366-TIPS. Paid for by the Attorney General's Office, Crime Stoppers Trust Fund.
For the last decade, S&S Motorsports of Sarasota has built custom high-performance vehicles for demanding clients worldwide. They're now bringing their 50-plus years of combined build expertise to the parts business. SRQ Performance Parts is your one-stop shop for all your performance parts and accessories.
Start the year off with big savings during the Start Something New event at Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota. Get a brand new Jeep Renegade for as little as $15,999. Find the path to your next great adventure in the all-new Jeep Compass for just $18,999. Or be one of the first to drive away in a 2018 Jeep Cherokee for as little as $19,999. Better prices, bigger selection. Go to Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Sarasota.
My name is Stefan Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in a car accident, the state of Florida only gives you a specific amount of time to file a claim. So act now, give us a call.
Download the all-new ABC7 First Alert Weather app now.
For your plumbing, electrical, or air conditioning, and services is qualified, and service calls are free. AndServices.com. AndServices.com.
We've been talking about this cold air arriving all week long, and we're about 12 hours away from it happening. We're going to see our temperatures start to fall off here pretty quickly. We may have gotten very close to seeing our daytime high already. The cold front just a couple of hours away from the leading edge of it beginning to move into the Suncoast. It'll take a few hours for that colder air to move in, but I think by about 3 o'clock we'll see our temperatures starting to drop to about 60, and by 7 they'll be at about 50, and the winds will start picking up at that time. They'll be coming out of the northwest and perhaps as much as 10 to 15 at that time. And then as we head into the midnight hour, 43 degrees, we'll see probably at that point a 20-mile-per-hour wind. It will be howling, and it'll draw down that colder air pretty quickly. When you wake up tomorrow morning, it'll feel like about 20 degrees most everywhere across the Suncoast, inland and close to the coast. Inland temperatures will be a little colder than this. This is a representative temperature closer to the coastline. I think we'll probably escape freezing, or we may just touch freezing for a very brief period of time. But this is, for us, kind of a dangerous cold. Here are some representative temperatures that I think we can expect. I'll go with about 30 degrees in Northport, 35 in Placida, 31 in Charlotte, Port Charlotte, Rotunda at about 33, Inglewood at 33, Venice 33. All these temperatures right along the coastline, just above the freezing point, or maybe at some point just touching the freezing point for a minute. But look, Mayaca 29 degrees, and it'll probably be at those cold temperatures for 5 hours minimum, maybe even a little bit longer. Occurring just after midnight, we'll probably see freezing temperatures east of the interstate. Lakewood Ranch coming in at about 30, Sarasota 34, 35 in Bradenton, 38 Longboat Key, 39 in Anna Maria. And if you want to see those again or get a closer look at them, I have them on our website, mysuncoast.com, as well as on our Facebook app, our ABC7 First Alert weather app. Go ahead on there and check that out, and you'll see the video of what I just showed you. The weather continues to be fair across much of the country as that cold high-pressure ridge builds in. That's the one that's pushing this cold front further to the south and will bring us that strong northwesterly wind flow. First Alert weather day to allow you to prepare for this freeze warning that's in effect over a large chunk of our real estate, and the wind chill advisory that's up for everyone. Bring those plants indoors as that front sinks south across our region. Probably see the cloud cover increase just a little bit, but there'll be no weather associated with this one. No rain showers, certainly no freezing precipitation for us. But we will see that cloud cover begin to dissipate as we head into the overnight period. The winds slacken a little toward morning, but still pretty breezy out there, certainly enough to make it feel like it's in the 20s widespread. And then as we head into Thursday day, the winds will really start to subside. I think as we get into Thursday night into Friday, the winds will go pretty calm out there. Forecast across the region looks like this. Those temperatures beginning to drop as we head into about 5 or 6 o'clock and continue to drop during the overnight. Terrible boating weather. You're going to have gusts out there that'll be gale force. So stay in port tonight through tomorrow. It's just going to be real rough going. 64 or thereabouts our daytime high temperature tonight. Very cold, very windy, just frigid temperature. Stay indoors, stay warm. Make sure your heater's working, make sure your plants are covered, and make sure your animals are well protected. We'll get to about 55 tomorrow afternoon, drop down again into the 30s tomorrow night into Friday, but I think we'll avoid a freeze. We'll, of course, be watching this very carefully and updating you on our weather app and our Facebook page, and Bob will be updating you on the evolution of tomorrow's weather as well. And then as we head into the rest of the weekend, we're back into the 70s. Scott?
The weekend looks nice. Thank you, John. Walmart is launching an opioid disposal solution in all of its pharmacies, known as Dispose RX. The small packet contains ingredients that, when emptied into a pill bottle with warm water, will enable patients to responsibly dispose of leftover medications in their trash. Walmart is the first national pharmacy chain to offer this free opioid disposal solution. Virtual kidnapping is a scam that's on the rise, even prompting the FBI to issue new warnings about how you can protect your family. People posing to be part of gangs are calling families and then exploiting them for money, saying they have kidnapped their loved ones. It's called virtual kidnapping, an extortion scam where victims are tricked into paying ransom to free a loved one they believe will be harmed or killed, when in fact that person is perfectly safe.
As long as you cooperate with my cartel, I promise you that your son's going to be fine and I'm going to release him.
The FBI says cases like these have been reported for about 2 decades. They say they're becoming more common, and they're working with Mexican law enforcement to combat the schemes. But if you get a phone call claiming that somebody has a loved one, take a moment to verify where they are. So how's that New Year's resolution going? Have you been exercising every day, eating better? If you haven't, you're not alone. And today's your day to celebrate that. It's National Ditch Your New Year's Resolution Day. Didn't know they had that, but they do apparently. Just give it up for the day and then start over tomorrow. If you need some help sticking to them, we have a few tips from WebMD. First, get your priorities straight. Set goals you need to achieve and are actually achievable. Second, go easy on yourself if you fall off the wagon. Try to identify what works and what doesn't. Third, take small steps in your goals. Just start with limiting the number of times per week instead. And then finally, make it a joint effort. Find a resolution buddy so you can hold each other accountable. And if one of your resolutions is having a cleaner house for 2018, we have some easy tips from Home Advisor. First, start the year with a deep clean of your home. Carpets, floors, bathrooms, closets. Tackle one project per week. And if you aren't up to the task or don't have time, you can hire some help to get your home sparkling. Once the inside is done, head outside to freshen up the paint, and your landscaping. So to come in your Suncoast News, last year they were defeated by their rivals. When we come back, we'll tell you if Manatee County cheerleaders make a comeback at the Manatee County Fair.
Motor Trend said the new Alfa Romeo Giulia is hands down the best sports sedan you can buy today. And named it the 2018 Motor Trend Car of the Year. Rediscover your passion for driving at Sunset Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Florida Studio Theater presents the 8-time Tony Award winner Once, held over by popular demand. Captivating and breathtaking, Once is an unforgettable story about going for your dreams and the power of music to connect us all. Critics are calling Once engaging and heartwarming, outstanding, and a flawless production. Audiences are calling it phenomenal and better than Broadway. Once must close January 19th. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting FloridaStudioTheater.org.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
I'll be right back.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC 7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
When evaluating the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, Car and Driver magazine said every crossover should be this good to drive. We agree. Rediscover your passion for driving at Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
See, Judy, to me, this kind of food not only tastes good anytime, but particularly when the weather's a little cool outside.
I know, and I think what's great is that you can take the bread and stuff it with almost anything. You know, John, your dream, you always kind of wanted to do this little pizza shop. So
Yes.
I'm thinking you and I will just make it here, sell it for $3 a slice, and we're golden.
Scalzi's Pizza.
I like it.
Coming your way. Absolutely wonderful. I want to remind everyone the recipe for this on our website, mysuncoast.com. Click on the dining button, and all the information will be right there. Judy Gallagher, you feel better.
Thank you.
You're
Just
a
a little
under the
cold.
weather, so
I'm
to
going to
speak.
go to Faux Kelly and get my hot chicken soup and
It works.
cover up my flowers and jump into bed.
Good.
Thank you.
That's the only way to beat it. Scott?
All right, John, Judy, thank you. People magazine reporting that USA Gymnastics will not fine Olympian Michaela Maroney if she speaks at the sentencing of former team Dr. Larry Nassar, which is happening this week. More than 140 female athletes have accused Nassar of sexually abusing them. Maroney, a gold medalist, signed a non-disclosure agreement as part of a settlement with USA Gymnastics over Nassar's abuse. The agreement subjected her to a $100,000 fine if she violated the non-disclosure, but the organization says it has not and will not seek retribution if Maroney speaks out or shares a statement regarding her abuse. Former First Lady Michelle Obama celebrating her birthday today. Since she and her husband, former President Barack Obama, left the White House nearly a year ago, Mrs. Obama has returned to a mostly private life. During her time as First Lady, Mrs. Obama became a role model for women, an advocate for education, nutrition, and healthy eating. Manatee High varsity cheerleaders with plenty to cheer about today. They are the Manatee County Fair's cheerleading champions again. This after being defeated by Lakewood Ranch Mustangs last year. Before that, the Canes had won 4 straight varsity cheerleading titles at the fair. This year, Bayshore finished second, followed by Braden River Pirates in third.
How about that?
Congratulations to the Canes.
Pretty cool. Again, a first alert weather day out there. Prepare, bring your plants indoors if you live in a free zone. Even if you don't, I'm going to bring some of my potted plants in because, you know, I don't want them to get injured. Take care of the pets and get the latest at 5 o'clock tonight as Bob surveys the environment and lets you know exactly what's happening with this front.
Okay, John, thank you. Judy, thank you. Feel better?
Thank you.
We hope to see you again at 5 o'clock.
The classic film Singing in the Rain is coming to the Players Center in a live stage show opening January 17th. All the dances and all the songs you've come to know and love, all a part of our Wild Broadway series. Get your tickets now for this limited run by calling the Players at 365-2494 or visit us online at theplayers.org. You too can be singing in the rain.
Around the neighborhood or around town, you'll feel good and look even better driving your new Fiat. For maximum performance, check out the all-new Fiat Spider. You'll flip over the superior handling and capability. Or follow roads less traveled in the Fiat 500X. So go big or go small. With prices starting as low as $13,999, you're sure to find a Fiat that fits your style during the Start Something New event, going on now at Sunset Fiat of Sarasota.